Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for coming to Technology Transfer Primer hosted by the Hong Kong UTTO. Today our topic is best results, least effort, branding and marketing through LinkedIn. We are pleased to have Cherry and Chapman from LinkedIn to give us a presentation. Thank you, Cherry. Thank you, Chapman.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you, HEUTTO, for the invitation. So I'm going to share my presentation slides so everyone can see. So just a second. All right, so I am assuming that everybody can see my slides. So hello everyone, my name is Cherry. I'm the account director at LinkedIn Hong Kong. So I look after the marketing solutions business unit in Hong Kong. So primarily we work with marketers in Hong Kong to reach professionals on the platform to achieve their business goals. Today I'm here together with my colleague Chapman, who is my partner at work. We'll be sharing with you some of them tips of using LinkedIn and how you can reach out to your target audience on LinkedIn. So without further ado, so I'm gonna go into my slides. As you know, it's a very interesting period in time because it's, the pandemic hits and everybody was working from home, I think since March, and we are still working from home even now. So, and I don't see that we will be going back to office anytime soon. So, with that, there's actually some of the very interesting findings at LinkedIn, and it's that there's never been more interesting time to be a digital marketer. And from our research, actually, we found that 44% of the respondents said that they are spending more time on social media right now. And then 43% of the respondents are still working from home, working remotely. And 30% of the respondents said that social media should provide live streaming of events at this time, and 73% of the respondents agree that brands should advertise as normal and have no opinion at this time. So I think the takeaway for us is that for companies and for brands, there's no way to just stop all their marketing activities during pandemic, but instead it's really to find a way to adapt to the situation and shifting the strategy more digital. So this is some of the snapshot that we found during COVID-19. It's actually a global research. So, but today's main agenda is really to give you just an overview of LinkedIn, and then to share with you how you can leverage on the company page feature at LinkedIn to achieve your business goals. And Chapman is going to walk through some of the ad formats that we have at LinkedIn as well, because I know a lot of people might be familiar with Facebook ads, but not a lot are aware that LinkedIn has also advertising and is actually very well used by a lot of brands to achieve business goals on LinkedIn. And because LinkedIn has a lot of professionals, so I think it's also worth discussing some of the targeting capabilities at LinkedIn, as in how we can target professionals at LinkedIn. Can you reach out to the CEOs, or can you target to the senior people at LinkedIn? Chapman is going to show you how to do it. And last but not the least, we'll show you some of the interesting case studies as well. So LinkedIn, I actually joined LinkedIn 4 years ago, right before Microsoft has acquired LinkedIn. And our mission is always be the most effective platform for people to engage with professionals. So 4 years at LinkedIn, I'm still feeling it every day in my work. So this is something that we live and breathe together. And we are the largest professional network in the world. As you can see, there's no figure for Hong Kong here, but okay, on the left. So there's actually 2 million members on LinkedIn right now. It was 1.6 4 years ago when I joined. So it's actually like 100K more audience on LinkedIn every year. And in APAC, there's about 158 million. And globally, we have over 600 million. So as you can see here, China is actually one of our fastest growing region as well. As you might know, LinkedIn is actually the only one US social media platform that is legally allowed in China. So we do have a simplified Chinese interface as well for China. So if you want to reach out to professionals in China, you can do it on LinkedIn as well. So as we're all in Hong Kong, so I think it'd be interesting for me to share with you some more demographics for Hong Kong at LinkedIn. So as I said, there are 2 million members in Hong Kong, and actually 75% of them have 5 years or more years of experience. And 36% are managers or above, so they're managerial grade, and 300K, over 300K actually have overseas education. So this is some of the demographics and statistics that we have. And the top function for Hong Kong is business development and sales, interestingly. And top industry, it's finance. The demographics vary from country to country. I'm very interested to see that finance is still one of the key industry in Hong Kong, versus if we look at Singapore, it's actually tech is growing a lot faster than in Hong Kong. And well, I think a lot of people would think that LinkedIn is a job portal. When I first joined, I didn't know that LinkedIn is actually more than just a job portal, because when I first joined LinkedIn, I was with a team called Talent Solutions. I work with recruiters leveraging LinkedIn to hire the people that they want to. But now I shift a role internally, and I realized that LinkedIn is actually a social media platform with a lot of content posted every day by companies and by professionals. If I think you may not be aware that actually on LinkedIn there are 15 times more engagement on content posts than job-related posts. So so it means that if you go to your newsfeed, you read 15 posts about companies or about the industry, and then only one information about jobs. So it tells a story that LinkedIn is actually a lot more than just jobs. And there's a lot of content posted on LinkedIn, and there's 9 billion content impressions a week, which means that there's about 1,200 posts shared each minute. And so I think it's some of the very interesting statistics here that you can think about. And maybe next time when you're using LinkedIn, you can pay attention to different content instead of just the jobs, and you'll realize that there's a lot more information that you can get from LinkedIn than you've ever imagined. And what's so special about LinkedIn to me? And I think there are 3 things. Number one, it's LinkedIn, like the members on LinkedIn, they have an intent-driven mindset. They're usually a professional audience, and all of that combined, it creates a high quality environment. If you think about when you're going on to Instagram or Facebook, I don't have any intention. I just want to kill time. I'm just bored. I just want to scroll through my phones. When I'm in public transportation, or when I'm just really boring, I'm really bored. But on LinkedIn, you come to LinkedIn to look for information and to stay updated with the industry. So it's very much intent driven. And if you can notice, the discussion in comments area or the posts are actually a lot more professional and of higher quality. There's not much fake news, and there's not much like personal attack or different kind of personal discussions on LinkedIn. So going again to that point, we have a research before. So the purpose that people go onto LinkedIn, it's not, unlike Facebook, they're not to stay up to date with their friends or to be entertained, but they really want to search for new opportunities, learn from industries, learn from leaders and experts. So our members have a very different intent when they log into their platform. And an intent mindset actually means greater ad receptiveness. From our research, if the audience are seeking to learn and looking for advice, they are a lot more likely to be receptive of advertising. Because when it's on Facebook and then you're looking for like entertainment, you don't really want to pay attention to brand's message. Like if HSBC want to speak to you, you're not gonna like it, and you're not gonna pay attention to it. But if it's on LinkedIn, our research is that the audience would be more willing to look at the brand message. Yeah, so well, that was just my words, but in data, it says that 51% of the users are more receptive than the other two platforms in terms of receiving brand messages. So last point about how LinkedIn differentiates ourselves is that we are always a professional networks. When you come to LinkedIn, you want to invest your time instead of spending time. So you want to pay attention to career information, updates on the companies or brands that you want to follow, and also read some of the current affairs that are happening in the world. So with that, I think this is a very interesting study, and I think it's very timely because everybody is talking about digital trust. There's a lot of Netflix shows about how untrusted a lot of social media platforms are, but on LinkedIn, we always put our members first, and you barely see a lot of abuse content on LinkedIn. And well, as a matter of fact, if you report something, there's a real team looking at all the report cases. And I've always found that the profiles or message that I reported was being taken out within 48 hours. So I think LinkedIn really treats this very seriously, and we want to be a trusted platform to our members. And with that, I think this is also one of the reasons why we've always ranked the top in terms of digital trust. This is Business Insider's digital trust report every year. So I think ever since 2016, we've ranked at the top among all the other social media platforms. So it means that LinkedIn, it's really a trusted environment for you to place your brand and company message on. And so what are the features for companies or for marketers like you? I think first, this is definitely one thing that you definitely have to have, which is the page. It's a completely free feature. It's really just to set up your page. This is where you interact with your audience, because this is where our audience will learn about your brands. And sometimes in your page, you need to leverage the company updates to tell a brand story and to build your corporate brand. Well, sometimes you may say, if I'm a small company, I don't have to have a corporate brand, but that's actually not true, because a lot of people would do research, and they do research all over the internet, and so you want to make sure that on LinkedIn, when people search for you, they will see a very decent brand story, decent page, so that they will trust your company and trust your product. And how do I start, and what's important about LinkedIn page? First, as much as it is very intuitive, you must complete your page. There are a lot of steps that the system will suggest that you need to complete it when you're setting up the page. And a lot of companies are actually just at the first or second steps. They just wanted to have a page, but without a lot of content inside. So follow the steps and make sure you have completed your page setup. And then at least monthly publish and share content on the page, because if it's an empty page, or if your audience find it's very not updated, I think very often they would just not go to a page anymore, or they have like a doubtful feeling about your brands. And the other thing is also very important is make sure to attract followers, and at least to have it above 150. The reason is that if you have 150 plus followers, we found that there's a lift in, like 5 times lift in page views and 11 times in click after following. So yeah, make sure you do that. But I think now LinkedIn has an option that you can share your page to your connections and invite them to follow your page. So that's a good start. And well, as I mentioned, completed page. And if your page is completed and active, you will be more successful in achieving growth objectives. And these are the items that you need to complete your page. And I'm not going to go into details because you will find them when you're setting up the page. And sharing content, as I mentioned, how is it important to your brands? And so our research is that companies that post weekly will see a 2 times lived in their engagement with their content. And one of the interested topics that LinkedIn audience usually look at, number one is sometimes just share industry trends and news, best practices or tips for people who are paying attention to your industry, leadership, like some of the leadership interviews, any events, highlight that you want to show, webinar events, and also some of the employees' testimonials. I mean, a lot of different things that you can share on LinkedIn. And there's actually a new feature that I can suggest to you. On your page, there's actually a content suggestions column that when you click, you can select the location that you want to target, the industry and job function, and then LinkedIn will provide some of the relevant articles for you to share. So sometimes if you have no content, no image, no like video to share, sometimes you can just share some other news on the internet suggested by the system. So it's like a really easy way, just takes you maybe 5 minutes to share the content. So do leverage on this feature in order to make your page look nicer and also grow your followers and engagement step by step. So this is about organic because page is absolutely free. So I would definitely encourage everyone to have a page for a company if you haven't already had. But sometimes organic posts will only reach your organic followers. For example, if you have 1,000 followers, all the content would only be shown to the 1,000 followers that you have. So sometimes we always recommend the brands to regularly share some of the contents on sponsor them, because you can reach out to a wider audience at scale, and you can target, for example, like whichever audience that you want to target. For example, I want to target the managerial level people in the tech industry. You can do that. So a lot of those audience will then see your content, even if they haven't followed your company page. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into too much details because I know my colleague Chapman, who is an expert in it, he will go through all the interesting facts about LinkedIn marketing to you all. So Chapman, over to you. I will stop sharing so he can share his slides. All right.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. So let me share my screen now. And can you see it now? Jerry?
Yes.
Cherry. Oh, cool. Oh, all right. Thanks. So I think like Cherry mentioned a lot of like free resources we can start the marketing campaign on LinkedIn. But here I'm going to introduce some of the ad formats you can use for your advertising campaigns. And the first one is what we call the sponsored content. So sponsored content is actually one of the native ads, which are very popular in the recent years, and one of the best hero products we have on LinkedIn Marketing Solution. So when we talk about sponsored content, this is where people can see on their newsfeed. And the newsfeed is actually the first screen they can see when they access to the LinkedIn mobile app or the desktop version of LinkedIn. That means that we have enough impressions for sponsored content to support any of your campaign objectives. For example, if you want to drive awareness to your campaign, or if you want to get some business leads, you can always achieve your business goals with sponsored content. And one of the best things I like about sponsored content is it is like a cost per click auction base. That means that you don't have to assign a fixed budget in order to purchase certain impressions for your sponsored content ad. Instead, you can allow a very flexible budget levels to your sponsored content campaign, no matter it is like 1,000 Hong Kong dollars or 100,000. You can always start your campaign easily. And for sponsored content, we see most of our clients use it to promote their ebooks, their infographics, or even just to drive traffic to their website. And this is a variation of the sponsored content. So I think starting like 2 years ago, we start to allow using video as sponsored content. And in our study, we found that video is currently 3 times more engaging than standard large image posts. And the best thing is, we now also allow video ad to be displayed on both mobile and desktop devices. As you can imagine that more than half, actually more than 7% of the user of LinkedIn now are using the mobile app on the go instead of using the desktop version. So this is a very effective channel for you to demonstrate your brand story to your audience. And this is the third type of sponsored content, which we call it the carousel ad. So if you are very active on other social media platforms, perhaps you are already familiar with these ad formats. So for carousel ad, there are like up to 10 cards you can use to demonstrate your product or your brand story. And just as you can see in the middle of the slide, we see most of the clients use the carousel ad just to present like a brand narrative or a brand story to engage their audience. But actually, in my experience, some of my clients, like the universities, just like Hong Kong U, they use the carousel ad to showcase the different offerings of their programs. For example, they can use one card for the MBA program, another card for the EMBA program, and also the third card for the undergraduate programs. So I think this is a very useful tool if you have multiple offerings in your business. And apart from sponsored content, we have another type of like a unique ad format for LinkedIn, and it is called the sponsored emails, or now we call it message ad. So if you are an active user on LinkedIn, so perhaps you already found that you have an inbox in your mobile app that people can send you private message. And for sponsored emails, we allow our advertisers to send out messages to people that are not connected. That means you can send messages to a large group of audience that you don't have to connect them personally. Something like EDM, email marketing for digital marketers. But the best thing is the sponsored email here is a real-time delivery basis. That means that even the users, they do not launch their mobile app at the moment, but when the email arrives, they will still receive like a push notification just to remind them to open the email. And we only charge you by cost %. That means for every successful delivery, we charge you a certain amount on it. And this amount is sometimes very reasonable, low to $1 Hong Kong dollar %. And compared to the EDM campaigns in some of the marketers experienced before, we found that the open rates of sponsored email is much more higher. So we're seeing up to 40% plus open rate for sponsored email compared to maybe like 8 to 20% from the EDM campaigns. So I think this is a very unique and also personalized way to get in touch with your target audience. And this is one, how we say that, useful resource we provide to our advertiser freely, lead gen form. We don't charge extra for lead gen form function, but this lead gen form can be linked to your sponsored content or sponsored email ads. For lead gen form, I mean that whenever you want to get clients' contact information just for your sales team to follow up, or you want people to sign up for your webinar event, you always have to get their email address or first name or last name, right? And in the old days, the marketers usually put this form on their website, and they find that the completion rate is very low. But for here, if you enable the lead gen form function for your LinkedIn ads, the key benefit is the user doesn't have to leave the LinkedIn app. Instead, they will have the form pop up right in the LinkedIn app. So that means the first thing is you can reduce the dropout rate when people move to your website. And the second benefit of lead gen form is that most of the detail, like first name, last name, or email address, or even phone number, they're already automatically populated by LinkedIn because the members have already filled in all this detail on their LinkedIn profile. That means most of the users can only press the submit button in order to submit the form. Instead, they have to fill in all the details one by one. So that's why the completion rate is much more higher than a form on your website. So if you have your first campaign on LinkedIn and you want to generate some leads, lead gen form is definitely the first point that I want to introduce to you, and I highly recommend you to try it with your first campaign. So now you have a basic understanding on ad formats we have on LinkedIn. So the second question you may ask is, how do I deliver my ads into my target audience pools? And this is what we call targeting. How do we deliver the ads to the target audience? And just as Cherry talked before, so people use LinkedIn, like most of the people start their LinkedIn journey with using it as like a job searching portal or use it as a resume. And that's why they tend to put their authentic personal information on LinkedIn. And all these authentic first-party data provided by the members, we can use it, we can leverage it as a LinkedIn ad targeting method. For example, we have different categories of data we can leverage. For example, like the company background, the company they're working in, the industry they're working in, and also the job experience, like how many years they have been in the industry and how high is his or her job seniority. And also we have an understanding on their skills, like what do they know and what are the professional groups they belong to. And last but not the least, we also have the education background, like what are the degrees they're holding and what are the fields they study in their university life. And I don't want to go into every detail on this slide, but just to give you an overview of the available targetings we have here. So you can see that it's quite comprehensive. You can almost target every aspect of a member for your LinkedIn marketing ad. And I just want to introduce two special categories here. The first one is member personas. So apart from the demographic data we have from the members' profiles, the LinkedIn research and insight team actually prepare some personas based on the behavior the member have on the LinkedIn platform. For example, if we notice that some of the members, they have frequent IP changes, the changes on their IP addresses, then we may put them as our business travelers because they travel between different countries. That's why the IP address change. Or if they have a very high engagement rate or high percentage of reach of every post they post on LinkedIn, we may classify them as an opinioneers. That means people who have an influencing power over the professional network. So you can target your ads into these member personas that we provide. Apart from that, because we are one of the largest content network on the internet, so that's why based on analyzing the members' content consumption behavior, we can classify them into different interest groups, and we call it the interest targeting. For example, if we notice a member, she always engage with the articles or posts regarding the global economy or the latest trend of the COVID-19 impact on the economies among different countries, then we may put them in the interest group of interested in economy and finance. And you can, if your business is very relevant to this particular area, you can target this user through this interest targeting method. And these are some of the useful targeting capabilities we have, and we find it very useful for SMEs or startups. The first frame is the website retargeting. So I guess most of the startups or the small companies, they use their website as the primary marketing channel. And if you have the tagging ready, the LinkedIn tagging ready on your website, actually LinkedIn help you to retarget the website visitors to your website. That means like for member A, she visited your website maybe last week. And then if you enable this website retargeting thing, she may have a chance to see your ad again on LinkedIn.com later, so that you can better nurture this customer and then just to get in touch with her later in the soon future. So this is one of the best tools if you need to run performance-based marketing, or if you want to run a very conversion, sales-driven marketing campaign on LinkedIn. And another targeting capability is to upload your list to LinkedIn. For example, if you have a list of potential clients, if you have their names and their email address, you can actually upload this list to the LinkedIn platform. And then LinkedIn will try to match this profile by the email address or other identifiers. After they successfully match, and then you can serve your ad again as a retargeting campaign to this customer just to nurture them again, or try to convert them into actual customers that will pay to your business. Apart from the email addresses you can also use the company websites if you're like a B2B business model. So after talking about the ad formats we have on LinkedIn and also the targeting capabilities here, I just want to give you a better visualization on how the marketers leverage LinkedIn to promote their brands. And these are the three major types of use cases we find on LinkedIn. The first one is brand building. The second one is to reach out to the high value consumer. And the last one is how do you target SMEs? So for targeting high value consumer, so just to imagine, LinkedIn is a place for professional workers. And because of this business nature, we tend to have more members who are in the better positions in the career advancement. So when you look into the chart on the right-hand side, you can see that if you study the income level of the members among all these social media platforms, LinkedIn actually has a higher, have a higher average income level among our members. So you can see that we are even higher than APAC average compared to like Facebook or Twitter or even YouTube in the area. And if we classify all these high earners into a category, we would use the definition of mass affluent, which is the members who have a household disposable income, annual income more than $100,000 per year. And we have actually more than 7 million of these mass affluent members in APAC. So that means that you can use LinkedIn as a channel to reach out to people who have a higher consumption or purchasing power. And we also have different targetings to hit this targeting pool. For example, you can serve your ad to people who are especially interested in automotive, or the people who recently get a promotion, like we put them as career changer. So this is a case that Audi, I guess you're all familiar with this car brand. They have a new, they had a new model launched like 3 years ago, and they want to target these more expensive models to the senior executive. So through the job title targeting, like they can target people who are like with directors or head of operations in the job title, and also by skills. For example, people who put people management or general management in their member skills. So Audi leverage all these targeting options to target people who are in the senior level executives, and then deliver the ads about this new model. And as a result, that they found that there is a significant shift, more than 8% in the brand attribute statement that Audi makes car with intelligent design for those at director level or above. That means that they have successfully changed the mindset and also the perception of Audi among all the senior executives. So this is one of the successful story we have been seeing from the luxury brand or the brands they want to target people with high consumption power. And the second case study is about building brand. So just to give you a piece of research data to give you a better understanding on how people behave on making their business decisions. The first one is B2B buyers believe that thought leadership increases the trust when they try to do a purchase decision. When we talk about thought leadership, that means that how do you position your brand or your company as a subject expert in a particular topic? And how do you perform better than your competitors in all these areas? So I'm going to give you some of the examples of my clients, which are all in the finance industry. We have HSBC here, Barclays, and SocGen. So I hope you remember that back to 2 or 3 years ago, when people start to notice the ESG investment area, which is more about sustainable business and environmental friendly business. SocGen already took the leadership and positioned the brand who is very specialized in this particular area. So instead of just to tell people how many researchers or analysts they have in this particular area of renewable energy, they chose to publish a series of content regarding renewable energy. And I think this is very successful because so when you start to follow the trend, and if you want to invest in renewable energy, then you may think that, oh, SocGen already started this few years ago, and they can be an expert in this particular area. So if I'm an institutional investor, I'm the first approach to SocGen to plan my investment plan in this area. And HSBC did something very similar. So instead of just telling people how many branches or how many employees they have in China, HSBC published a series of content regarding the market outlook for China or their experience working in China, different provinces and districts. So imagine if you're a new business and you want to target, you want to go into China to start your business. And you're searching for a brand, a bank that can help you to set up the account and also to help you to penetrate the market. You may think of HSBC because they seem to know a lot about the China landscape and also the market structure. So these are examples on how the brands can build their thought leadership into different particular topics. And the last example I bring up today is about targeting SMBs. So so a few charts here, but the core message I want to call out here is that for targeting SMB, people usually have different behavior. So for traditional marketers, they may always want to reach people as senior as possible. For example, they want to target the CEO, the CIO, the CTO of a corporate company. But if people want to target SMEs, decision makers, you may have to target people who may in like a junior level. For example, just the middle management or middle managers of this company, because from the research, it's shown that people, no matter whether they are in the C-suite or just in the managerial position, they think that they have the primary decision-making power, or they can heavily influence the decision-making in an SME company. And sources of the information they relied on to make their business decision are actually coming from word of mouth or professional social media network like LinkedIn. So that is very important to change your mindset a little bit when you target SMEs, marketers, or decision makers. And on LinkedIn, actually, we have more than 2.3 million members employed in these SMBs. So we have a very huge pool of audience for you to target if you're working on a B2B business targeting SMEs. And here is one example we got from American Express. So I guess you all know well about one of the key portals for SMB is actually the corporate card. So as American Express, or we call it Amex, they take a very smart approach to get in touch with these decision makers and SMBs. So first of all, they use multiple touch points. So they leverage not only the sponsored content on LinkedIn, but they also use sponsored email or even dynamic ads to have a comprehensive tactic to reach out to the SMB decision makers. And they're also targeting by the company size, so they don't have to waste any money to the audience working in large corporates. They will make a waste on the marketing dollar. The third point is they also keep all this campaign always on, just to keep reminding their target audience that they have an offering here. And as a result of the campaign, they find that actually more than 50% of the leads driven by all their media campaigns are actually came from LinkedIn. So we contribute more than half the leads of their media campaign. And compared to other channels, the cost per lead was 23% lower than other channels back to the period of 2015. And at the end of the campaign, they also find that more than 1/4 of the leads they got from LinkedIn actually convert into real customers that is working with their corporate cards. So I think there is a very encouraging result they received from LinkedIn, and that made them one of the longest and also strongest partner we have in LinkedIn among different markets. So I know that we have a long presentation and that you may not be able to remember every details of what we have talked about. But if you want to make it like a key takeaways for today's session, here are the 3 bullet points I want you to remember. The first thing is LinkedIn is not only a job searching portal, but it is more like a place for discovery. Our members come here not only come to search for jobs, but they also want to learn and be inspired. So to make sure you complete your community page and develop your content so that the members can learn from you, or they can develop new skills and stay plugged into what's going on in the markets. And the second point is be active. So trying to publish more than 2 posts per week if you can, and publish the content that can help our members become more productive and successful. And this is what they actually come to LinkedIn and search for. And the 4th point is to boost your reach. So every time when you notice you have a very engaging post on your community page, don't let it go to waste. Try to put some money to boost your post, so this post can reach out to more members on LinkedIn, more audience. And as a result, you can probably get some potential leads or business opportunity that can help to grow your business. So this is the end of our presentation today. So I hope you enjoyed it. And Cherry and I will be staying in the chat room for maybe 5 more minutes. So if you have any questions here, please feel free to type it in the chat box and we will try our best to answer. Thank you.
Cherry Lan and Mr. Chapman Ho from LinkedIn, thank you so much for the enlightening presentation. We all understand now how to target a quality audience in a professional context to influencers and decision makers to achieve the marketing goals through this strong platform. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much for participating in the webinar. This webinar is finished, but it doesn't really stop here. HKU TTO is hosting a series of technology transfer primer to share some fundamental know-how in the technology transfer process and sail all of you through the entrepreneurial journeys. Follow TTO's LinkedIn account to check out the latest events and updates. See you next time. Bye-bye.